I didn't touch a single weight in the gym for 90 days, and I came back stronger than when I left. Not stronger on a bar, stronger in my actual body. More capable, more durable, harder to break. 3 months, 0 lifting. I know what that sounds like to you. Hold that thought. I'm going to be straight with you later about exactly what stronger did and didn't mean. But not yet, because if I rush to reassure you, you will miss the part that actually matters. So let me start somewhere more uncomfortable than the gym being good or bad. For years, I believed I needed it, that without it, I would fall apart, that the strength I'd built, the body I'd developed, the entire identity I'd constructed around being someone who trains, all of it would crumble the second I walked away from the gym. But 90 days without it proved me completely wrong. And not just about the gym, about where strength actually comes from, about what I'd been mistaking for capability for years, about the difference between being strong in a controlled room and being strong in a body. The last thing I did before I walked out of the gym that day was put the bar back on the rack, look around the room I'd been showing up to for years and think, I have no idea if I actually need this or if I just think I do. 90 days later, I had my answer. This is that story. Here is what this episode is really about. Anything you're afraid to lose has power over you. And I was afraid to lose the gym, which meant the gym had power over me, which meant that for all of my talk, discipline, self-reliance, building a body that depends on nothing external, I was dependent on a building, on equipment, on a structure somebody else designed, that I'd handed the keys to my identity. That to me is not fitness, it is not strength. That's dependency with a good aesthetic. So I walked away for 90 days to answer one question. What am I actually made of without all of this? So let me say the thing I think most people in this space feel and never admit. For a lot of us, the gym stopped being a tool and became a crutch. Not a physical one, but a psychological one. It's where you go to prove something to yourself. It's where you earn your sense of discipline, your sense of being somebody who's on top of it, somebody who shows up. And there is nothing wrong with that on the surface. Showing up is great. Discipline is fantastic. But when it's the only place you feel capable, when your entire sense of being strong depends on having access to that building and that equipment, something's gone wrong. Because real strength isn't location dependent. Real capability doesn't require a membership. Real resilience doesn't live in a barbell. It lives in you, in your body, in your patterns, in how you move through the world when nobody's watching and there's nothing to lean on. I had lost sight of that. I'd outsourced my sense of capability to a building. And the first 2 weeks without it didn't expose a weakness in my body. It exposed a weakness in my relationship to training. Because what I kept reaching for wasn't the weights, it was the structure. The comfort of knowing exactly what I was doing, how much, how it would feel. Day 1 push, day 2 pull, day 3 legs. The plan told me what to do and I did it. I never once had to ask, what does my body actually need today? Strip the plan away and you have to listen. And when you really listen, no program to hide behind, your body tells you things you'd rather not hear. Where you are tight, where you are weak, where you've been compensating, where you've been avoiding. The gym had been giving me somewhere to dump my energy without ever requiring me to actually listen. But 90 days without it, I had no choice. And what I heard wasn't very comfortable. The rules were simple. For 90 days, I could only move the way a body is built to move. I could crawl, hang, squat, carry, walk, climb, brachiate, sprint. That's it. No iron of any kind. And it was hard, but hard in completely different places than the gym had ever found. The crawling wrecked my shoulders in a way that years of pressing work never had. Not because it's more intense than pressing, but because it loads the shoulders in different positions through different ranges, demanding a different kind of stability. The shoulder in a crawl is working as part of a whole body system, not an isolated joint doing an isolated job. That's not just strength, that's integration. And I didn't have nearly as much of it as my bench press had led me to believe. The hanging work destroyed my grip and opened my shoulders in a way pull-ups never managed. Because hanging is passive. You're not pulling, you are holding. And that passive load through a fully lengthened shoulder is something that most people's bodies have simply never felt. Gym training loads the shoulder short. Hanging loads it long. And what that does for your shoulders over time is enormous. Then the carrying, picking up heavy, awkward things in awkward angles and moving them across space, lit up my core, my hips, my whole back chain in a way that deadlifts never quite reached. Because a deadlift is controlled, balanced, predictable. Carrying a heavy, awkward object across uneven ground is none of those. It forces the whole body to work as one system instead of a collection of muscles taking turns. That's the difference between training for the gym and training for life. And I was sore in places I'd forgotten I had. And the soreness was information. It was my body telling me that these are the gaps. This is what your gym training has been quietly skipping for years. And the most important part that people don't expect. Let me put it where it actually belongs, in the evidence, not as some separate headline. I didn't change my food. Same as always. 1 meal a day, high protein, real food. No surplus to protect muscle. No protocol for offset to not lifting. My nutrition hadn't changed, so that wasn't it. What changed was the nature of my movement. I went from controlled, predictable linear patterns for 1 hour a day to varied, unpredictable, full-body movements all day long. More muscles, more ranges, more often. The body responded to that. You can't out-supplement a sedentary life, but you also can't outlift a movement-poor one. The body I'd been trying to build in the gym was already available to me, the moment I was willing to move like a human being instead of a machine. So here is where I owe you the honesty I promised at the start, because I know the question you've been holding the whole time, and I'd be holding it too. Did I get weaker? Did I lose the strength I was so afraid of losing? Did I lose the muscle? So let me be precise, because I'm not going to sell you something. Did I come back with a bigger bench press or a bigger deadlift? No, of course not. I didn't bench a single time in 3 months. Nobody gets better at a lift that they never do. If that's your only definition of strength, then this experiment was a failure, and you can stop the episode here. But that was never the real question. The real question is, could I do more with my actual body in the actual world than I could 90 days earlier? And without a shadow of a doubt, I came back indestructible. My hang time went through the roof, and not braced, chalked up one max set grip, the kind where I could hold my full body and play up there, shift around, let go with one hand, control it, usable grip, the kind that life actually asks for. I managed to get 23 minutes in a hang. The crawling patterns that wrecked me in week 1, I could now do for long, smooth stretches where it became almost like cardio work. My shoulders felt more stable and more integrated than years of pressing had ever made them. And the squat I used to treat as something to escape, turned into a place I could just live as long as I wanted, for hours on end. I came back more capable, more durable, harder to injure, moving like one connected system instead of the pile of separate muscles I'd spent years training in isolation, hoping they would cooperate when it counted. The number on the bar didn't go up. The body underneath it got better at almost everything else. So you decide which one of those you were actually training for. I spent a long time training for the number, and I got very good at a very small and narrow thing. And here's what hit me the hardest, and it's never left. For years, I'd measured my strength by one thing, what I could load onto a bar. Number goes up, I'm winning. Number stalls, I'm failing. My entire sense of how strong I was lived in the iron. And for 90 days, I had none of it, nothing to measure against. So I was forced into a different question. Not how much can I lift, but what can I actually do with this body of mine? And the answer was so much more than I expected. The strength never came from the iron, it came from me. The gym had only ever been one way to express something that was already mine. A tool, a good one, but never the source. And I'd spent years believing that it was. And I went back after the 90 days. I still train with weights now, but I came back a fundamentally different person, because now I know that if every weight, every machine, every gym on earth vanished tomorrow, I would still be so strong. The strength is in the body, in the movements, in how I use myself, not in the equipment, not in the number, not in the building. And that gave me something that I didn't have before. I used to feel dependent. I used to feel like I needed the gym. Now I know I don't need it. I choose it. Those are completely different things to build a life on. Needing something means it has power over you. Choosing it means that you have a power over it. Once you feel that distinction in your body, not as an idea, but in the way that you actually show up, everything changes. The first session back in the gym after 90 days was one of the strangest experiences I've ever had in training. Everything around me felt so small. Not the gym itself, but my relationship to it had changed completely. I walked in and it was just a room with equipment, a tool, one option among many, not the source of anything, not the thing that made me who I was. I loaded the bar and it lifted with such ease, and it felt so good, like genuinely good, the way a tool feels good when you use it. But it didn't feel like coming home because home wasn't there anymore. Home was in the body I'd been building for 90 days without it. And that's the thing I want you to understand. I'm not telling you to leave the gym. I'm telling you to know the difference between choosing it and needing it, between using a tool and being used by one. The gym got better for me the day that I stopped needing it. Every session since has been cleaner, more intentional, more honest, because I'm not there to prove anything anymore. I'm there because it is useful, and when it stops being useful, I'll put it down without a second thought. And that's what freedom in your training looks like. So you don't have to quit the gym for 90 days. I'm not asking you to do that. But do one thing this week. One session, no weights at all. Crawl across the floor. Hang from something until your grip gives out. Sit at the very bottom of a squat and stay there. Move there. Pick up something heavy and carry it across your house and back. Move your own body through its full range of motion and watch two things: how good some of it feels and how much of it your body has quietly forgotten how to do. You might find what I found, that the thing you were sure you couldn't train without was only ever one option among many, and that your body on its own with nothing added is capable of far more than you've been giving it credit for. I walked away from the gym for 90 days because I was terrified I'd lose my strength. I came back having learned it was never the gym's to give. The gym is a tool. Use it, but never confuse the tool for the source. Because the day you stop needing it, the day you realize you choose it, is the day it stops having power over you. I don't need it. I choose it. It was always yours. You just forgot while you were busy lifting.